Live every day as if it were the last, because before you know it, time goes past and life's just not that long. Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone. Taste the wind, don't let it blow on by. Sing songs of love, let the music get you high. And when it's
We all will die. By living healthy in every way, every day, we can greatly improve our chances of a long, healthy life until the day we die. But accidents happen. Violence happens. Tomorrow is not guaranteed to me or to anyone on this earth. Sooner or later, we all die. Refusing to think about death does not make death go away. Refusing to talk about death does not make death go away. Refusing to prepare for death does not make death go away. We need to put one or more persons who are close to us, persons we trust, in charge of making decisions for our care when we cannot. We need to tell them clearly what kind of medical treatment we want or we don't want when we're dying. How comfortable we want to be when we're dying. How we want people to treat us in those final hours or days. What we want our loved ones to know. 5 wishes. I highly recommend this booklet. Very simple, clear, a legal document in New Mexico and in most states. Find it, the information for it on the internet. 5 wishes. It has been printed in at least 26 languages plus Braille, used by millions of people. I filled this copy out in 2018, going on 4 years ago. As I say, it's a legal document in New Mexico. When it is signed, witnessed, 2 witnesses, and dated. Go to 5wishes.org on the internet. Fill it out. Make sure the persons in charge know where you keep the original copy. And give them a photocopy of your filled out 5 wishes. Millions of people have used 5 wishes. If you're close to death, if you're in a coma, not expected to recover, if you have permanent and severe brain damage, do you want life support treatment? I don't. How and where do you prefer to die? In a hospital or at home? I definitely prefer home, not in a hospital. Do you want your doctor to give you medicine to relieve your pain, even if that means you will be drowsy or sleep more than you would otherwise? Well, for me, only if my pain is very severe. Do you want certain people with you when you die? Yes, I want a few of my closest friends. Do you want your friends, your family, and others to forgive you for when you have hurt them? Yes, I want them to forgive me. Do you want family, friends, and others to know that you forgive them for when they have hurt you? Yes, I want them to know that I forgive them. Do you want all your family to make peace with each other before your death, if they can? Yes, I want that. Do you want everyone involved to respect your wishes, even if they do not agree with your wishes? Yes, I surely do. Do you want to be cremated or buried? I want to be buried. And I have designated that I will donate whatever organs can be used from my body to help living people. And then the remainder of my body to be buried at San Jose de Armijo Cemetery on the west side of Arenal, the west side of Albuquerque, a beautiful dirt cemetery. Where do you want your body or ashes buried? How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to donate body organs or your whole body to science? What songs or readings or message at your memorial service for persons speaking there? Religious or not religious service? For me, not religious. Do you want money contributions to go to a special cause or organization? Many important questions. Let your loved ones know for sure exactly what you want when you are dying and when you are dead. So there's no guessing. Sometimes families get in awful fights with each other because one says, I think he should have all the medical treatment that he can, even if it's just extending his life for days or weeks. And another one says, but no, he or she said they didn't want all that expense. So if you make it clear exactly what you want and have it written down in 5 wishes, then they know. No need to argue and fight and guess. And if you change your mind in 5 years, 20 years, just tear up the old copy and make a new one, filling it out the way you want to. 5wishes.org. Many men who yell faggot at others have sex with men, or they want to, but do not have the balls to say so. Some are terrified of their hidden desire. Some make fun of and curse and threaten and beat up, even kill gays, lesbians, bisexuals. Many live a double life. A gay white guy told me a married Chicano picked a fight with him. And later, the gay white man and the married Chicano man were at the same party. And as the night wore on, they got it on, not with fists, but in sex. And the married Chicano went home to his wife and returned to the gay white man for more sex. And the gay white guy asked him, if you had these feelings for me, why did you pick a fight with me? And the married Chicano answered honestly, I could not let my friends know. Many, even most men who love sex are bi-curious about sex with men, even if they have never done it with a man. If you have friends who insult or attack gays, lesbians, and bisexuals, tell them, you better stop persecuting those people, the gays, lesbians, and bisexuals, because some people may wonder, why are you barking so loud? What's the big deal? What are you running from? What are you trying to hide? People in China have used their human shit to fertilize their food crops for 4,000 years. And many hospitals in the United States transplant shit from a healthy person to someone whose good germs in their intestines were destroyed by antibiotic drugs or other causes. Antibiotics from pharmacies kill both the bad germs and the good germs that we need to be healthy, to digest our food, to assimilate the food. Garlic kills only the bad germs. Garlic helps the good germs. But what pharmacy will tell you that? They want to get your money for a prescription antibiotic. I've taken no antibiotic drugs for at least 25 years. I believe in nature's healing herbs. I eat many herbs every day in my freshly blended homemade smoothies. Transplanted shit from a healthy, lean person to a fat person can help the fat person become lean and healthy. If the fat person then also stops eating all the processed crap that made him or her fat. The bad germs in our intestines cause people to crave crap to eat. Those bad germs are used to eating the crap that goes in the person's mouth. And they can put up quite a fight, a lot of craving for the junk food, for the sugar. The germs, both the good and the bad, affect our mood, our thinking, our energy, our total body's health. So much of our immune system and our mood are dependent on what the little microorganisms, the very tiny microorganisms, millions of them, are like in our intestines. Most people, 91% of patients who receive a shit transplant are healed. A doctor said there's nothing else with this rate of cured patients. But again, are you going to learn that from the pharmacy companies that want to make billions off their drugs? Probably not. Some of my favorite songs: Live Every Day by Seth Hoffman, the song that begins and ends this program. Volver, Volver, one of the most popular, beloved romantic songs in Mexico and in New Mexico. Danny Boy, De Colores, Stand By Me, Puño de Tierra, Save the Last Dance for Me, Reach Out and Touch Somebody's Hand, Willie Nelson singing, "He was a friend of mine." The Lights of Albuquerque, Amazing Grace, Precious Lord, Take My Hand. Those two songs, I love the melodies, I love the deep feelings, but I no longer believe many of those religious words. The black South African Desmond Tutu was a hero of conscience and bravery. For many years, black South African Desmond Tutu strongly protested publicly the brutal, evil, white supremacy government that tortured and jailed and murdered many black South Africans. After democracy came in 1994 to South Africa, Desmond Tutu worked to bring healing and reconciliation between the former enemies, whites and blacks. Desmond Tutu insisted the nation tell and hear the truth, the awful truth, about the massive, bloody, racist horrors whites had committed against blacks. Desmond Tutu fought for equality for all people, both men and women, of all skin colors, all beliefs, all backgrounds. And as a gay man, I strongly compliment and I thank Desmond Tutu for championing lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people. As a humble man, he wanted no expensive, fancy casket. Desmond Tutu's plain, simple, small pine casket had rope handles. What an inspiring example, Desmond Tutu, for all of us. He died December 26, 2021, age 90. Many adults get rich off poisoning kids' bodies, kids' minds. Many churchgoers are horrified when kids kill kids and old people. But many of these churchgoers have no conscience against paying federal income tax to kill kids and old people in other nations in U.S. wars. And many of these churchgoers have no conscience against encouraging their own sons and daughters and grandchildren to become soldiers, murdering grandparents, children in other countries. Many kids are damned as no good hoodlums for stealing cars and hubcaps and computers, while politicians and corporation presidents are praised as fabulously successful for stealing billions in natural resources and dirt-cheap labor from other nations. Some kids commit atrocious crimes, and they need to change their ways, no question. But the number one responsibility for kids' crimes is on adults. Kids do not own the gun factories and the gun stores. Kids do not make and sell and advertise booze. Kids do not manufacture the violent video games. Kids do not make the movies glamorizing war and rape and jealousy. Kids do not make the movies glamorizing guns and booze and cigarettes. Kids do not make the movies glamorizing revenge, robbery, money addiction. Kids do not import the heroin and cocaine from other countries. Kids do not create the TV commercials pushing people to crave expensive crap no one needs and to do anything to get that crap. No kid should be spanked. No kid should be cursed. No kid should be bruised. No kid should be beaten. No kid should be ignored. Kids do not run Hollywood. Kids do not run McDonald's. Kids do not run Coca-Cola. Kids do not run Coors. Kids do not run Philip Morris. Kids do not run Wall Street. Kids do not run the Pentagon. Kids do not run Congress. Kids do not run the CIA. Kids do not run Baskin-Robbins. Kids do not run Sandia Weapons Lab. Kids do not run Exxon. Kids do not run General Motors. Kids do not run Walmart. Imagine if we adults refuse to work at any job that harms people and poisons our very sick Mother Earth. Imagine if we adults devote ourselves every day to making a world where it's easier for us all to do good and to do the right thing. A good test of how free from shame and guilt a gay or a bisexual man is about sex with a man. This is the question. Does he enjoy cuddling naked and sober with a man he is attracted to and who is attracted to him? Cuddling naked and sober is a deeper emotional intimacy than the wonderful pleasures of fucking and sucking. And of course, there are many heterosexual men who aren't really comfortable cuddling naked and sober with a woman they have sex with. That's sad. For the rest of my life, whether I die tomorrow or 30 years from now, I aim never to own a car. I've ridden in no car for 21 years. I've owned no car for 42. I ride city buses, but I mostly walk. Better for my health and better for the earth. I aim never to live in a much larger space than my 114 square foot, one-room home now. I want always to live below the U.S. poverty level and below the U.S. federal income taxable level. I enjoy living simply. I refuse to pay for U.S. wars and U.S. nuclear bombs. Why would I want much more than I need, while many millions, hundreds of millions worldwide suffer hunger, cold, sickness, with no home? I want always to dance to beautiful, heart-touching music if I'm able. I want to keep making new friends, a great variety of friends, while I treasure my old friends, both the living and the dead. I want to keep my eyes and my heart open to possibly new lovers. I treasure heart-to-heart conversations. The more deep, real, personal, the better. I love personal questions from sincere friends. I want to forgive myself and others. I want to ask forgiveness when I wrong others. I want many hugs with men, with women, of all ages, of all colors. Anybody who sincerely wants for us to hug. I love to sunbathe naked and mostly naked, most days all year around. I enjoy gardening, to grow food and flowers. I aim to eat only healthy, raw plant foods until I die, if they are available. I want always to speak out publicly against white supremacy, against all injustice, and against all wars by the United States, Russia, or any nation. I aim to speak out publicly until my last breath. Every one of us is capable of terrifying violence. Every one of us is capable of murder in a moment of insane rage. Every one of us is also capable of marvelous compassion, of wonderful good. We need to always see the evil around us and within us, but we need to concentrate mainly on the good around us and within us. It's always better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. Violence is a terrible human problem, not just a male problem. Violence is a terrible problem of both men and women. No one is born evil. No one. Not Hitler, not Trump, not Putin. No one is born evil. If we think of persons who have hurt us personally, or persons who have committed huge atrocities, waged terrible wars, if I had suffered the childhoods they suffered, if I had suffered the poison influences they later suffered beyond childhood, if I had not had the many, many, many people in New Mexico, Arizona, Illinois, Virginia, and other places, many people who have taught me, who have loved me, who have inspired me, I might have committed the same evils they committed. The persons in charge of governments who wage wars, or the persons who have hurt me the most deeply. With much help from each other, we can wake up, we can turn from evil to good. If you really want to eat healthy and live healthy, get rid of all the packaged, canned, bottled crap, slow poison processed crap in your home. Throw it out. Get rid of it. Put it in the trash. It's not fit for anybody to eat. If you don't have it around, you can't eat it. If you get the craving, the urge, get rid of all that fast food and all the factory fake foods and all the sodas and the booze and the chips of any kind. It's shit. It ain't going to make you healthy. Get rid of anything with added sugar or artificial sweeteners. The processed vegetable oils, the corn oil, soybean oil, peanut oil, etc. These oils have often been heated to high temperatures, the good stuff taken out and bad stuff put in. They're no good for your body. And I have none of that shit in my one-room home. And I wouldn't eat that crap if you paid me $10,000 on the spot under normal conditions. Now, of course, if I were absolutely starving to death, that's a different story. I've learned not to have many avocados at home. Too tempting for me. Now, don't get me wrong. Avocados are very nutritious, very delicious. I love them. But too much fat, even raw, healthy fat, like avocados, is not good. So most days now I eat one small avocado and never, never, never eat cooked fat, because cooked fat clogs up the blood arteries, the lymphatic system, which is what flushes the poisons out of our body. Cooked fat often makes people fat, but eating only raw plant fats, avocados, seeds, nuts, can actually help lose fat, because raw plant fats have enzymes which cause body fat to be burned. But the enzymes are killed off if you cook the fat. Slavery in the United States was not just an evil in southern states. Slavery was not outlawed in New York until 1827. The last enslaved black men and women in New Jersey were not set free until 1865, the year the Civil War ended. The whole nation made money from the plantation slavery of black men and women in the South. The cotton from the southern slavery plantations went to the mills in the North. So those mills were part of the bloody horrors of slavery. Wall Street in New York City made fortunes connected to cotton and slavery in the South. All of us in this nation need to know the true history of brutal white supremacy toward blacks, Latinos, Native Americans. Why do many U.S. movies glamorize murder? Why do millions of people watch murder movies to be entertained? Why are murder movies called action movies. Action? What about people becoming friends who were enemies? Why aren't those called action? Why aren't movies of affectionate sex between man and woman, between two women, between two men considered action movies? Does it have to be blood and guts and violence and scare the hell out of you to be an action movie? I hate such shit. Ask the people who clean up the blood and the body parts of murdered people in real life if murder is entertaining to them. Ask the homicide detectives if murder is entertaining when they speak to the loved ones of the persons murdered. If your closest friend, your dearest family member were murdered, would you enjoy as entertainment a movie about their murder? For decades, Sandia and Los Alamos weapons laboratories have prepared to commit mass murders worldwide of hundreds of thousands of millions of people, hundreds of times larger mass murders than the deaths in this COVID pandemic. The nuclear weapons designed at Sandia and Los Alamos weapons labs terrorize many whole nations. U.S. nuclear weapons threaten to incinerate, to vaporize many times more moms and dads and kids than Hitler and the Nazis killed in gas ovens, concentration camps, World War II. U.S. nuclear weapons are prepared to slaughter far more people than all the wars of human history combined. Proud of Sandia Weapons Lab? Proud of Los Alamos Weapons Labs? How could you be if you have a conscience? These U.S. weapons of mass murder are aimed to murder far more human beings than all the street gangs, all the drug dealers, all the drunk drivers, all the rapists, all the deranged spouses, all the serial killers sitting on death row, all the Ku Klux Klan and the mafia combined. And even if the United States never again drops nuclear bombs on cities, and never forget, the only nation in human history who has used nuclear bombs to massacre hundreds of thousands of people in cities is the United States. But even if the U.S. never again drops nuclear bombs on cities, U.S. bombs are murdering millions of poor people right now. Why? Because the billions of dollars, the vast resources, the brain power invested in those bombs could provide clean water, decent shelter, nutritious food for millions of desperately poor people dying all over the world. And even if the United States never again drops nuclear bombs on cities, the radioactive, the chemical contamination from the creation and testing of those weapons can make sick and can kill many people for thousands of years. Many children will be born deformed or retarded. Many people will be ravaged by cancers or ruined immune systems. And even if the United States never again drops nuclear bombs on cities, these bombs are a constant threat against many nations worldwide to keep them under the bloody terrorist control of the U.S. empire and the huge U.S. corporations, robbing those people of their labor, their natural resources, keeping the poor people there, the working poor, in constant economic slavery. So how can anyone with a conscience pay one dime of federal income tax for this international nuclear terrorism by the United States empire? I have paid not one bloody penny of federal income tax for 43 years. And I aim never, never to do so until I breathe my last breath. And how can anyone who damns murder on our streets and in our homes pay one dime of federal income tax to repair the largest mass murder in human history? And how can anyone with a conscience be proud of having their son or their daughter or their grandchild get a job at Sandia Weapons Lab or Los Alamos Weapons Lab, no matter how much money they get as salary, and no matter how much prestige, and no matter how academically high they perform to get that job? Albert Einstein said, and this is my favorite quote from him, "More and more I have come to value charity and love of others above everything else. All our lauded technological progress, our very civilization, is like an axe in the hand of a pathological criminal." And no place is that more true on earth than the nuclear weapons labs at Sandia and Los Alamos. When Gandhi was asked what worried him the most, he said, "The hardness of heart of the educated." A woman wrote this: "I was never close to my mother-in-law, Agnes. She always came across as very religious and morally upright. She recently died of dementia, and it came on so fast that there were things Agnes needed to take care of but was not able to. This woman says, my husband was executor of her estate, so we had to go through all of her things and have them appraised after she passed. And one afternoon, my husband discovered a small binder tucked in the back of his mother's lingerie drawer. He looked through it, and to say he was shaken would be an understatement. He let me read it. Apparently, his parents enjoyed wife swapping, and Agnes took notes detailing her activities. Sadly, I'm saying the secrets people carry because they're afraid of telling the truth, thinking their friends and other loved ones in their families will reject them. Often the people who seem the most religious, often the people who seem the most sexually uptight, are living a lie to most people, whether these be straight people or gay people or bisexual people. Why live a lie? Be open. So you never have to guess, well, if my family, if my friends knew the whole story, would they still want to be close to me? No. I do not want to pretend in order to keep somebody my friend. No. Life is too precious. Romance is too precious to fake. A man in California wrote, "I'm a 67-year-old retired medical doctor who happens to be gay. I felt controlled, I felt trapped by my parents when I was younger. And over the years, I was counseled by 2 psychiatrists, 3 psychotherapists. And even after all that psychiatric help, I still felt great resentment toward my folks. However, after I moved to Los Angeles, I was fortunate enough to find a mentor. And one day, my mentor said something that forever cracked my shell of resentment and anger. He said, 'Armand, your parents behaved the way they did because they did not know any better.' And I suddenly realized that both my parents had only 6th grade educations, and had they known better, they probably would have treated me differently. And when I asked my mentor if I should forgive my parents, he said, 'You got it. You'll have to forgive them every time they come to mind.' It's not a one-time cures it. No. Every time you think of them, actively tell yourself, 'I want to forgive them.' And you know what this man says? It took quite a while, but I persisted, and it paid off. And finally, all my anger, all my resentment dissipated. I cried tears of joy for my newfound freedom, my peace of mind. And then I actually began feeling love in my heart toward my parents. Softly, slowly, love heals. Animals engage in all kinds of sex that is not involved with having babies. Male gorillas have anal sex with each other. They fuck each other in the ass. Female grizzly bears live as couples and raise families together. Male flamingo birds live as couples. Female flamingo birds live as couples. Even lifelong male couples, lifelong female couples are in species that have no lifelong male-female couples. So never again swallow the stupid lie that homosexuality and bisexuality are not natural. Homosexuality, bisexuality are common among animals and as natural as heterosexuality. Male animals have anal sex, oral sex, fucking and sucking with each other. Male animals masturbate each other. Male animals court each other, flirt with each other. Check out the amazing book, Biological Exuberance, from our library about homosexuality, bisexuality, scientifically documented in more than 450 species, 450 species of mammals, birds, reptiles, insects, and other animals worldwide. More than 700 pages, Biological Exuberance, authored by Bruce Bagamiel, B as in boy, Agemihl. He drew from research conducted over the past 200 years. I would not give up my strong romantic attraction to certain men for all the money, all the fame in the world. The main purpose of sex for us humans is mutually affectionate, pleasurable connection between persons, female and male, female and female, male and male. And if it were not for the terrible taboos from religion, the terrible taboos from family and friends and society against sex between men, still in 2022, most, if not all men, would be strongly sexually attracted to at least one male during their lifetime and would enjoy sex and romance with him, even if they also greatly enjoy sex and romance with women. Sex between men would become at least as popular as baseball, basketball, soccer, wrestling. Why are many people in this society ashamed of the natural smells of underarms and crotch and feet? In Greece and surrounding Balkan countries, folk dancers often carried handkerchiefs while dancing. And these handkerchiefs were kept in the male dancer's armpits while not in use. Male dancers handed them to other dancers as an invitation to dance. Natural underarm smell of healthy people can be a wonderful turn-on to people who are not ashamed of their own body's natural smells. A healthy body eating only healthy raw plant foods does not smell bad. In one group in New Guinea, a villager places his hand in the armpit of someone leaving the village and then sniffs his hand and rubs the smell on himself as a friendly parting gesture. But sadly, in this country and many Western countries, the cologne, perfume, deodorant companies have so brain poisoned us, thinking that, oh, those smells of your body are bad. Why? So they want our money to convince us we smell bad and we buy their products. Unhealthy people who eat crap often will not smell good. But that can change if you start living and eating healthy. To reach out for another person is to risk involvement. To expose your feelings is to risk exposing your true self. and possibly rejection. To place your ideas and dreams before a crowd is to risk their loss. To love is to risk not being loved in return. To live is to risk dying. To hope is to risk despair. To try is to risk failure. But risks must be taken because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. The person who risks nothing does nothing. They may avoid suffering, they may avoid sorrow, but they cannot learn, they cannot feel, they cannot grow, they cannot love, they cannot live, they cannot change. Only a person who risks is free. These common artificial sweeteners, aspartame, sucralose, saccharin, cause people to get fat. Never eat them if you do not want to get fat. They also cause high blood pressure, high blood sugar. These common artificial sweeteners are even worse than the slow poison sugar. I eat nothing containing artificial sweeteners. I eat nothing containing added sugars. Would you put dirt in a car's gas tank and expect it to run? I eat sweets, healthy, nature's sweets from Mother Earth. Lots of whole fruit, many kinds of fruit. I love fresh, ripe fruit, preferably organic. And yes, this is my fresh piss. I have drunk my fresh piss every day, not all of it, some of it, every day since November 10th, 1999, over 22 years. I drink it mostly in the mornings as I exercise free at home in my one room, 114 square feet. I drink about 2 cups, and it tastes just fine because what I eat is healthy. But if you're dehydrated or if you're eating a lot of crap and you're not healthy, your piss may taste pretty bad. But that can change. We all can wake up. I was severely addicted to sugar and other junk food when I was a kid and in my 20s. But seeing my mother suffer, seeing my father suffer for many years, I woke up. I changed. We can change. We can get healthy. To your health, my fresh piss. Good night.
Tell all you love that you love them so, because even if you do, they might not know, and one day we'll all be gone. Taste the wind, don't let it blow on by. Sing songs of love, let the music get you high, and when it's said and done, you'll know the sun will shine on. And when it's said